Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of CSS for Beginners. My name remains Vincent Hope, your instructor for this class. So today we're going to be treating more on CSS background colors, and we're also going to be dealing with CSS image, background image. So let's jump right in. So CSS background color, now you can set the background color for each HTML element. Now let's look at this code quickly. Now if you look at the code, if we go down here, we said H1, which is the heading 1, the background color is green. The div, which is a class, background color is light blue. The paragraph background color is yellow. Now for each of the, now what are the elements in this? In the H1 we have this text here, CSS background color example. Then for the div class, we have this text is inside div element. Then for the paragraph class, we have this paragraph has its own background color. Now, let's see how it works in the code. So let me go to my Windows Explorer. Now this is the code for it. This is the output. Let me double click it. Okay. So this is the output of the code. Now let me bring it out in Notepad++. So I right click and I open edit with Notepad++. Okay, let me minimize this. Okay, so let me put it side by side as usual, so we can see how they all look like. Now H1, the background color is green. This is the H1 background color glare, and the text inside is this one, H1 background color example. So you see that this text here, it's not like the one we did before where all the text are the same color. This text here is green color. Then we have the div class background color is light blue. You can see the div element here. The background color here is what? Light blue. Then we also have the paragraph color here is yellow. The background color here is yellow. And what is in the background? This paragraph has its own background color. You see here is yellow. Okay, so let's assume I want to change this now to purple. Okay, it's already out. Here I click, I select it, then I click save here and I refresh here. So you see it has also changed the background color here to purple. So that's how you work on each element in a CSS text. Now let's move forward. Now let's go down. Now the example 2. Now we have, in this case, we have background color here green. This class div first opacity. We're dealing here with opacity. Now the opacity shows you the transparency. So the first one here is 0.1. The second is 0.3. Let's go. The third is 0.6. Now we have heading H1. Now look at the text here, which is actually used to explain. It said when using opacity property to add transparency to the background of an element, all its child elements, that's whatever is under it, becomes transparent as well. This can make the text inside a fully transparent element hard to read. Okay, let's see how it works. So let's go back to our Explorer. Okay, let's take this background color opacity, double click it. Now this is the output. Now let's bring it out in Notepad++. Notepad++. So edit with Notepad++. Okay, I minimize this and bring both of them closer as usual. Okay, so now let's look at the code very well. Now div, which is the first one, background color is green. The total background color here, all of them are green. Now the div, which is a class, div.first, the opacity is 0.1. You can see how transparent. Now the difference is, and the text here, the H1, which is for the H1 opacity, is also 0.1 here. Now what is different here is that the opacity, the background is light, the text is also light. If you come to the second one, div opacity is 0.3. You see that what the text is beginning to become, the background color is beginning to become clearer. So with the text. inside. The same thing for the third opacity is 0.6. Then the background color is becoming clearer, the text inside is becoming clearer. So this is how you work with transparent boxes in CSS. That's how you used to manipulate your HTML documents. Now you can see now, look is how the code works. So it says that for this one, div first opacity 0.1. Now when we come to code it here, also we put div class first, which stands for this div first. Then the opacity here is 0.1. For the second one, div class, okay, second opacity is what? 0.3. So we continue like that. So this is how it looks like. So we go back to the full text so that you can see it. If you want to copy and code it, let's go back. Let me go back again. So here, since it's recording, so we have HTML, the normal coding, div background color, div first opacity 0.1. You have your close braces here, open another, div second opacity 0.3. So the div starts the class. Now 0.3, then div third 0.6, then you close. Remember, when you are styling, you have open with the open style tag and the closing style tag. Then you have the heading tags, close. Then when you come to the body, you begin to represent each of them. H1 transparent boxes, now which is just the heading for one. Then the paragraph, which is what you see here. You enter your text there. Then you won't begin to respond to each of the div class now. So this is the div point first. Now the opacity here, now also this one is H1 opacity 0.1. Remember, div class is equals to first, referring to this. So you continue, div class second, referring to this, equals to second, referring to this one. Then the third one, div class third, referring to this. Then you continue, div H1 opacity 1 default, which goes back to normal. H1 opacity 1 defaults, goes back to the normal color, which is this one, the green. Then you close the box. So this is the entire code for this using opacity. So I hope it is clear to you now. So let's look at the code. So the code is a long one. We have looked at it already from there. So the example 2. So I leave it a bit on the screen so that you can see div background color. Close it with open brace, close brace, div.first opacity 0.1, close, then gradually, let's go. Now div point second, which is this one, opacity 3.1, div third, opacity 0.6, and the style and the heading and the put H1 transparent boxes and the rest of it. So this is the entire code for this CSS code that we have just written. So I'm still leaving it on the screen so that you can look at it. You can always pause it before you make progress on it. Now let's go straight to image. We'll skip one. Okay, we'll skip this example 3. Let's go straight to the image background, adding background image. Now you can add a background image to your HTML code. Now let's look at this code. We know all this is style, body. Now background image is the code. Now the URL, the universal resource locator, you must specify. Now here the code is staying on the file which we are looking for is on HTML/CSS/cat. This is the name of the file. So it is stored under HTML folder /CSS/cat1. So then it says background, repeat, no repeat. Now let us put the code so we can explain what we are saying. So I come back to my Explorer. Okay, let's go to background image. I double click this. Now you see this is the cat here. This is the cat image. Now let me bring out the code. Right click this, edit with Notepad++. Okay, so I close this one, this, okay. So this is the code body background image. This is the background image. Where is the image? html/css/cat.jf. So it depends on where your image is stored. It can be online, it can be offline. Let's see whether we can get another image and change this image here. Let's go, let me see if I can find one. Reduce all this. Okay, where do I find an image? Let's see. Okay, let me go back to the Windows Explorer. Okay, HTML, CSS. Let's see. Okay, see other. This is where the code is, html.css, because it's under this folder HTML. Now let me bring that one up on the code. Let me bring it on the code so you can see what I'm saying. Now look at it now. The folder is html. See, this is the folder html/css. This CSS folder is under the HTML, but that's where the location of the file is. In another location, you can see I have cat1. I can decide to change it to what? cat2. Let me change this to cat2. Cat2, and I click save. I come back to my output. I refresh it. You can see the cat picture here has changed. So I have other cats. I have cat3. Now watch what is going to happen. Look at cat3 here. Let me do something deliberately. I put cat3 now. I remove this cat3 and I click save and I click refresh. Okay, you see cat3 is looking at you here. So it keeps on changing depending on where your image is being stored, where the image file is being stored. And notice the file is a GIF file, JFIF file. That's the file type. So that is also what you're going to put with cat3.jfif. So you must, so if it's a JPEG file, you put JPEG. If it's a PNG file, you put a PNG file. I hope that is clear to you. So this is for, and now there's something that is also interesting here. It said background, no repeats, no repeat. Now let's assume we remove this code here. Let me just remove this code here and I press delete. Watch what happens. I click save, I minimize this and I click refresh. You can see the image has been repeated all over the screen. Let me maximize this. So it spans the image everywhere because we remove that no repeats. Now, so that's the function of that file. So if let me minimize it here. Okay, minimize it here. Okay. Okay, so this is the code now. I brought it to this side. Now, if I put back that code, Control Z, which is back, you say background, repeats, no repeats. If I save it here and I refresh and I bring it down, I refresh it, and I bring it down inside, I refresh it, you discover it comes back to 1. So it depends on what you want to achieve in your background image. Now let's continue, let's jump forward, let's make progress. Now, so that's the background image. Now, if we go ahead, if we say, now, no repeat, so we have done that here. That is exactly what we did. I just wanted to explain that to you. So we have already achieved this. Now let's come forward. Now, we want to position the picture at a particular location. So doc type, HTML, head, style, background image. This is the background image. Background, repeat, no repeats, we have put that. Then background attachment, you see where you fix it? Fixed, it's not moving. Then background position, center. Now you want to put it at the center of your screen. So let's go back to our Explorer. Let's search for the background image, which is our CSS 6 points. Background image center. Let's double click it. Now if you look at the image here, you can see, let me expand this, bring it down inside here, expand it. If you watch carefully, the image here is at the center, because that is what was specified in the code. So you see your code controls everything. So I right click here, I click edit with notepad++. Now if you look at it, you see it here now. Now I put it background attachment fixed, background position. Here, let me see. Okay, center, I didn't put the center here, but let's say background position 500 by 500. Now let's see. Okay, so it's here. Now if I decide to put, let's put that code that we saw here now, so background position center. Now here is center. If I go back to the code editor, background position 500 by 500, I can decide to still put center here. I remove this 500 by 500. I save it here, save, Control S. What's happening? The code is not saving. Okay, so let's come back to the output. This is the output. Refresh. Okay, so this is actually the center clause here. Center, so you see it shifted a bit, so it's at the center. Okay, let's go back to the output, the input code. So here, let me reduce this too. Okay, so you see background center, image background is center. Okay, let's try another thing. Let's put left side, save it, refresh. You see that? Okay, let's move it to the right side, save it, refresh. Okay, it's not a proper code for it, so let's put it to the right, save, refresh. Okay, you see how the right comes to the side. So you can tweak it at any point you want. Center, we'll go back to center, or center, so you can take center left, center right. Let's check center left and see how it looks like. Double click that, click save, right, refresh it. You can see, so however you want to tweak it. So it talks about positioning. Now let's come down. Okay, so center, we've done that. Then we have another code here, which, okay, the previous one we did, which was the code for that, we put it. You can also get an exact location, that's an exact size of the text of the image. Let me Control Z. Let's go back to the original. Okay, now it is 500 pixels. 500 pixels. So let's save this. Refresh. You can see it comes to the center exactly. Now let's remove this. So it's 500 by 500. I save this. Well, I refresh it. Okay, so you can see each thing you do. Let me on Control Z. Let's put it 1000 by 1000. The size of the image. 1000 by 1000. Control S, which is save, refresh. Okay, let me expand it and see where it has gone to hide. Okay, it is not even visible. Okay, so what is important is that you get the idea. Now let's go back to the code. Let's undo it on 500. So it's coding. You check every option. So refresh. So you see back your image here. Now let's go back. Let's go back to our text. So now example 4. Now we want to create a new addition. We have this one called the viewport. It's a new code. Content, the width is equals to device width initial scale 1. Now what simply here is saying that the viewport helps the the text helps the image to adjust to the width of the design. So if it's a laptop, it will adjust to a laptop width. If it is a text, if it's a phone device will adjust to that phone device. Then we have the background image, this background color. So okay, let's take it one by one. Margin 0, font family. This is the font family. Hero image, background image, the cat, background color, this, height, this, background position, center, background, no repeat, no size. So let's check how this one pans out in our code. What's the output? So let's go to background image, full image. So double click this. Okay, you see now this is what that code will bring out. Let me minimize it here. Fine. Let me expand it a bit to the size where we can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, let me expand it. It's like okay, so this is the back. So let me bring out the code for this one. Right click it and see how it pans out. Okay, so let's begin to explain the code. Now this is the code. Now you can see now this is the viewport. This is the viewport. This big rectangle here that has the background image as the cat. Now the viewport content width according to the device initial. The body, the margin is 0. Font family is area. Okay. The hero image .h image. Now the background image is URL GIF. I can change it to cat2 like we said. Save. Refresh it. You can see the background image here has changed. Okay, I'm looking for the output coding. Okay, the background image changed to cat2. Background color, this is the one based on the RGBA selection. The height is 500 pixel. Let me make this one, let's say 400. I save it. I refresh it. You can see it has reduced the size of the viewport. It has reduced the size of the viewport. If I make it 200, I save it. It will reduce it further. You can see it has reduced the size of the viewport. Now let me take it back to where it was before. Okay, so if it was 500, it was 500. So save it. Okay, refresh it. It expands it. Come back to the viewport. Now we have the position, the center, no repeats, background side cover, position relative. Now the text, which is this one, align is center, position, absolute, top 50%, left 50%. So this is how you position it. Now, so this is the code. So it stays here. Then the color white, style, heading, and the body. Then the div class, the hero image, the div class is hero.text. Then h1 style. So I'm taking it gradually so that we can follow it. Now h1 style, font size 50. I am Jane Doe, which is this one here. Okay, so I come back here. Let me bring it to this side. I bring this text to this side. Bring this to this side. Start moving. Okay, so move it here. Let me reduce this so that we can also see this. Fine, beautiful. So it's also here. Okay, put them together exactly. So we're here back now. So div class hero image, div class hero text, h1, div style font style is 50. I am Jane Doe. Look at it here. I'm Jane Doe. I go down. The h3 here. I am a photographer. This is it. Then the button, hire me. Now look at what you see, the code for the button. The button, button, hire me. Then end close the div. Then page contents, which is this one here. See the content here. Then this is the end of the code. So This is how you manipulate the background image of an HTML document using CSS. I hope you understand what we have done. And if you have any questions, you can drop your comment below. You can, and if there are areas you want us to cover, you can also drop